Min Young is
How to
17.
escape North Korea.
She lives in Hyesan, a small town in North
I
Korea.
think I've watched this guy
It's
before.
located right at the Yalu River, the natural border to China. Across the ice, Min Young can see the other side. Freedom is so close, yet so far. North Korean soldiers are nearby, patrolling the area. Min Young takes a deep breath of cold air. Then she makes her first step onto the ice.
Oh, because
Not knowing that
the
this will be
river
the beginning
freezes over.
of an incredible 7-year journey.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, you should go do that. Go like the video.
North Korea is notorious for the oppression of its people, and
Women with the blicky stuff.
North Korea
Crazy to
is
think about. You
notorious.
gotta just think about how much they probably truly hate doing this shit. Man, it kind of sucks. Well, it not kinda. It actually sucks.
For the oppression of its people and its poor human rights record.
Damn.
Under Kim Jong-un, it became even harder for citizens to escape.
That
There are
fathead
more
fuck right
fences,
there.
more guards, and since a few years, there is a new order to shoot on sight. Yet, every year, hundreds of North Koreans risk their lives to flee their country.
I mean, can you blame
Weeks
him?
desert treks, months in detention camps, and years in hiding, all in the pursuit of freedom. Geographically, North Korea shares borders with Russia, China, and South Korea. Most North Korean refugees want to get to South
If I
Korea.
remember correctly, China sends them back. I think China extradites them back. I think Russia does too. The only one that doesn't is South Korea.
There is the shared language and cultural heritage.
That's just from what I
Most
know.
importantly, South Korea actively welcomes defectors from the north with a citizenship. If you look at the map, the direct route to South Korea might seem the easiest, but in
It's not.
reality, very few manage to escape through this path. In between the countries lies a demilitarized zone, and it
The
is one of the most
DMZ.
dangerous borders in the world.
Excuse me, sir, would you like to earn income while you learn how to code?
Yeah, dog. Tell me more about that.
DevSlopes helps you earn income.
Anyways,
Oh Chong-sung is one of the ones who managed to get through. In 2017,
yeah, they was
he made a daring
busting at that
escape from
boy.
the DMZ, created after the Korean. In
Did this nigga
2017,
trip?
He made a daring escape from the DMZ.
That nigga ass. How the fuck you
Created
trip?
after the Korean War, the DMZ is only demilitarized by name. It is heavily fortified with armed guards constantly observing each other. On a quiet Monday afternoon, the tense silence of
See, that's like Bloods and Crips. Just like sitting in front of each other, just guns out, just always looking at each other, just waiting for somebody to bust a move.
the DMZ is suddenly disturbed. Someone is trying to escape. Driving a military jeep at high speed, Oh Chong-sung races towards the border. Surveillance footage by the South Korean military captures the intense pursuit. He abandons his car and continues on foot. North Korean soldiers fire multiple shots.
You niggas is ass.
But Oh Chong-sung manages to cross the demarcation line. Collapsing behind a wall on the South Korean side, he endures for hours until South Korean soldiers rescue him. Escaping through the DMZ is extremely
7
rare.
niggas and you can't kill
Survival
one
chances
person?
are near zero.
Womp womp.
Another rare, extremely dangerous escape route to the south is by sea. Somewhere along the southeast coast, a North Korean man enters the ocean. The man is in his mid-20s and equipped with fins and a diving suit. Swimming for over 6 hours and covering more than 3 kilometers, he reaches the South Korean shore near the town of Goseong. Despite being caught on surveillance cameras, South Korean forces only find him later, resting under a tree. He turns out to be a North Korean fisherman seeking asylum. The tides had worked in his favor. Presumably, the man had prior knowledge of the sea conditions. Without, he probably would have drowned. Defecting this way, too, is near impossible. Only a handful of people have succeeded through this route.
Fuck, a lot of people take what they got for granted.
Similarly, it is
Like,
extremely rare that North
Might be
Koreans
shitty, but at
defect
least we don't live in North
The
Korea.
border is heavily guarded, and the river is too deep to cross. The few people publicly known for defecting to Russia are privileged or high-ranking citizens who manage to cross with the help of their connections. Creating 3D animations like this requires a solid understanding of physics and mathematics. A great place to develop these skills is Brilliant and Science. their use in our
Yeah,
brilliant
go do
marketing
that
piece,
brilliant
people
thing, you
investing
know.
in their
It's
subscription.
brilliant.
You're also
I
supporting
don't think the
China.
deal so
The
it
most
might still
promising
work. It was
path
3
for
weeks
North
ago.
Korean defectors is through China. The two countries are divided by two rivers, the Yalu and the Tumen. Some sections are shallow and
Human.
waist deep. In winter, these rivers offer a rare opportunity. The water freezes solid. For those desperate enough, crossing over the ice might seem deceptively simple. Crossing
Has
is
to be
just the beginning.
meticulous.
The real danger lies on the Chinese side, where defectors face constant threats of capture and repatriation.
Exactly.
Great
Send right back.
Now your
You know, if you
account
get
has
caught
a
while you
limit,
escape, that's
and you get
instant
free
death.
daily
Or not
cases
death,
for it
but they're
every
gonna
day.
torture like your family or something.
Hire your
That's a scam. You probably should not do that.
Min Young
That looks
grew
like
up
a
in a
scam.
modest home overlooking the Yalu River. From her backyard, she can see the hazy outline of Chinese villages. Her family is relatively privileged. They don't starve. Her father, a traveling salesman, frequently crosses
Imagine
into
not
China for
starving,
business,
being
while her mother
privileged.
works for the
That is
government.
crazy.
In her free time, the mother makes extra cash by trading smuggled goods from China. This is a common practice for North Koreans that live near the border. The poor economic conditions increasingly drive them to find additional income. Life changes dramatically when Min Young is 14. It's the year 1994. One day, she returns from school to find her father missing. He has been arrested on his way back from China, accused of bribery and corruption. The family suspects he was tortured during his interrogation. Months later, he dies in a hospital. Min Young, her mother, and her
Yeah,
little
at least for
brother
now.
are left alone. Devastated. Disillusioned, Min Young begins questioning the contradictions she saw around her at an early age. The suffering during the famine, the lies in state propaganda, and the harsh realities of survival all build up to a pivotal point.
Yeah, at least it ain't
At the age
ain't
of
get this
17,
bad though, right?
she makes the life-changing decision to leave North Korea. In under a minute, she crosses to the Chinese side, her heart pounding. Her plan is to visit relatives up north. She seeks a Chinese smuggler who lives by the river. He frequently trades goods with Min Young's mother, and she trusts him. He agrees to
You gonna
drive her
snitch
to
on
the
her, ain't he?
sprawling city of Shenyang.
Or did she get caught?
For the first time, Min Young experiences a world vastly different from the one she had just left behind. Bright lights, bustling streets, and the abundance of food and goods leaves her overwhelmed. Weeks go by, and she turns 18 years old. She wants to return to North Korea, back to her family,
Why?
but then she gets a sudden phone call
Why would you want to
from her
return?
mother. Rumors of her disappearance have spread across town.
Her mom's gonna
People
snitch.
suspect she might have left the country. Coming back would be too dangerous now. Her family fears retaliation for letting Min Young escape. So Min Young's mother urges her to stay in China and live freely. Min
That's a
Young
W mom.
remains in Shenyang. She begins working in a restaurant and learns Mandarin. She lives in constant fear of being caught and adopts several new names to evade detection. One day, two men enter the restaurant. They ask for her and flash their badges.
Oh, here's our Anne Frank moment.
It's the police. They take her away. It's over, she thinks. This is the end. At the station, they question her relentlessly and demand she complete a written Chinese test to prove her fluency. She does so, hands shaking, constantly at the verge of a panic attack. But she passes the
Did she
test.
lock in?
It's a narrow escape.
She locked in.
Had the
She liked that
officers
for real.
doubted her,
She liked that
she
for
would
real.
have been deported to North Korea without a doubt. Everything she risked, every moment of her struggle, would have been for nothing.
Why do we do things the hard way? Coming through. It's so backwards.
Later, she learns that someone she trusted with her secret reported her to the authorities.
Come on now. You don't ever tell secrets to nobody. You don't tell secrets to people. If you don't want to get snitched on, the way that you 100% don't get snitched on is you don't tell nobody. That's why I don't tell nobody shit. I don't know the statute of limitations on some crimes, so that's why I don't tell nobody what I do. I shouldn't have said that out loud. I was thinking that. Never mind that.
In 2002, she takes the train to Shanghai. It marks the beginning of a new chapter in her life. In the megacity, she meets a broker who provides her with a new identity. She spends her entire savings on this ID. With it, she secures a job as an interpreter at a South Korean tech company. As she builds her life in
Did,
Shanghai,
did she get her
saves
family out?
money and falls in love with a South Korean man. Together, they hatch a plan for her to seek asylum in Seoul, South Korea. After years of hardship, Min Young boards a flight to South Korea.
Don't
She's so
question
close to
nothing I
freedom.
just said.
But immigration officers doubt her story. She spends weeks in detention. She is being interrogated over and over again.
By who?
Then finally,
South
she
Korea?
is granted permanent residency. She made it. Years later, Min Young uses her savings to arrange the escape of her mother and younger brother. Today, Min Young goes by the name of Hyunshio Lee.
That's
She is a
fire as
human
fuck.
rights
I ain't gonna lie.
activist, speaking out for defectors and advocating for freedom in North Korea. Her journey took over a decade, but her resilience and courage led her to live a life free from fear. We linked her book in the description.
10 years
Min
for
Young's
freedom.
story is one of pain, loss, and perseverance, but ultimately, it is a testament to the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to live in chains.
I'm sitting in this chair in this cozy air-conditioned house complaining about shit.
For
I'm
most
still gonna
North
complain,
Korean
but, like,
refugees, escaping through
I
China
mean,
is
you know.
unavoidable, but the country usually only marks the first stop. The ultimate destinations are Vietnam, Thailand, or Mongolia. All offer sanctuary and a route to asylum in South Korea.
China's
And as
fat
terrible as
as
it
fuck.
sounds, many journeys to get there are much more grueling than Hyunshio Lee's. Shiyun grew up near the Tumen River. While her story is fictional, we drew on various sources to paint a realistic picture. Her family is extremely poor. Shiyun works as a vendor at an unofficial street market. The money she makes is almost entirely spent on food for the family.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still
She
gonna
once
complain.
believed
I'm
her
complaining like a
grandmother's
motherfucker.
promises that the supreme leader would provide for
But I ain't
them.
gonna take it for granted though.
Not anymore. One day, a friend whispers about a Chinese broker who helps people cross the border for a small fee. He promises shelter, food,
This is hard. There's so many good chocolate flavors that we have.
but they're all a little different.
I'm gonna go out of order here.
and even work.
Okay,
To
that was
Shiyun,
creepy
it
as fuck.
sounds
I'm
like
not gonna lie.
salvation. Maybe she could make enough money to provide for her family. She and her friend agree to meet him. After weeks of preparation, Shiyun and her friend find themselves waiting by the river
So I know life ain't like that perfect of a happy ending. So which one of them's gonna get caught?
on a fresh summer night. A shadowy figure emerges. It's the broker. The moon hides behind thick clouds, and the only light comes from the distant glow of Chinese towns across the river. They are ready to cross. The broker leads them through the cold water. Shiyun notices the absence of border guards. Usually there are at least 2 guards patrolling this part of the river.
That's a setup, isn't
Her
it?
guess, the broker has bribed them. On the Chinese shore, a car awaits. The broker insists Shiyun ride ahead alone, claiming her friend will follow in a different car for safety. Numb with adrenaline, Shiyun hesitates, but complies. She hugs her friend, unaware it's their final goodbye. As the car
Yep,
drives through
I
the
knew
dark
it.
countryside, exhaustion overtakes her. Shiyun falls asleep.
She's gonna wake up in like prison or
She
some shit.
wakes to a nightmare. The car has stopped in a remote village. The driver tells her she's meeting her new husband.
Yep.
His words send
I
chills down her
I
spine.
I could have
This has to
predicted
be a
that.
joke, but no one seems to be joking. Shiyun was deceived. The broker has sold her to a middle-aged farmer. While transiting through China, many North Korean escapees fall into the hands of human traffickers. In the border regions, the traffickers prey on the vulnerable. Promising food and jobs, they target people living in the harshest conditions. Once across the border, hope turns to horror, especially for women. A 2019 South Korean report estimates that 60% of North Korean women in China fall victim to trafficking, many forced into sex trade. For 2 years, Shiyun endures isolation, abuse, and constant surveillance. It feels like a never-ending nightmare. She learns Mandarin in secret and scrapes together money by selling eggs, always planning her escape in the back of her head. One night, Shiyun seizes her chance. With her hidden savings and a few belongings, she escapes. The following weeks, she travels north. She has
Life
no
is
plan,
strange.
no direction, and no one
Life
to
is
help
just
her.
strange.
After months on the run, she stumbles upon a network of defectors in the Koreatown of Beijing. They promise to help her reach Mongolia. She knows going back to North Korea would make her a traitor. This means torture and death for her and her family. She can't go back. This strange faraway place seems like the only chance at a free life, so she decides to go. The only thing standing in her way is the Gobi Desert. The size of Peru, it is extremely hostile to humans, freezing nights, scorching days, and no water.
It gets cold in the desert.
Shiyun joins a group of defectors and embarks on a grueling
Why
trek.
did I say that like I didn't know that?
Days blur into nights as
The
they
fuck?
walk through
Why did I say that?
sandstorms, share sips of water and little food. After days of walking with almost no rest, Shiyun's feet are bleeding. Only the thought of freedom keeps her moving. When they finally reach the Mongolian border, the group spots a few soldiers. A man from their group volunteers and approaches with a bribe. In case things go south, the others are still able to escape undetected. Shiyun nervously watches as the man from her group talks to the soldiers.
They gonna kill him?
Luckily, they are Mongolian and quite supportive.
Ah.
They guide the group to a detention center. Shiyun spends months in a refugee camp before finally being granted passage to South Korea. She is one of the few hundred that make it every year.
Damn.
One has to wonder who hundred that make it every year. Granted passage to South Korea. She is one of the few
And
hundred.
they was putting up numbers, wasn't they? Golly. As North Korea started playing lockdown defense in 2020.
One has to wonder how many more North Koreans would leave. If only they could.
Like, imagine having to do all of that just so you can live a peaceful life. Man. Man.